Good morning, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Sarita. I am behind on this video because it should certainly have gone up in late July. Would have made a lot more sense. And I did promise it on August 1st, but I believe this is August 2nd. We're rolling out of bed and it needs to be done. It cannot go any later. So I did go to the Outer Banks first part of this week, and it was lovely. I mean, I adore the ocean, so it was fantastic. But between us, I was only there for like 2 days, and it was a lot of driving, like stressful driving to get there and back. Like more driving than probably relaxing. Not even to mention that managed to like burn myself on my back, because I was trying to get as much of the ocean as I possibly could. So, it's just it was one of those little mini vacations that you kind of need to recover from when you get home. But unfortunately, you get home and then catch up in a panicking way on all of the work that built up in those days. So anyway, I am trying to recover here, but not great. Also have this Team USA Olympic shirt, which you probably can't see because it's got the Olympic rings down below. Fun fact about me, I love the Olympics. Like, I don't actually know anybody who loves the Olympics more than I do. So, I am so happy about the Olympics. I know I'm with you that like opening ceremonies was probably the worst that I've ever seen in my entire life, but it does not take away from the grandeur of the Olympics, the International Olympics, which is a moment. So Team USA or whatever country you're voting for, that you're rooting for, I love, love, love every second of it. And maybe this is as good a time as any to say that if you are looking forward to me transitioning away from summer in the next 20 days, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to disappoint you. This channel will continue doing summer for at least another 20 days or so. I have mentioned this before in other videos. For me personally, I I burn summer candles all the way through August. It's really not until the end of August into the first few weeks of September that I start transitioning to like apples. But for many of us, especially in the last decade with global warming, etc., it's real hot. It's real hot for most of September, to be perfectly honest. And I am just not going to stubbornly try to bring fall upon me by making my house fall when it's really not, etc. I think it was Kevin Enenel who said once there was a triple thing. Triple thing had to happen before it was fall. And it was like apple picking had to be on. I know one of them was like football games. Like the college football games have to start up. And then there was something else, and I can't remember what it was. I'll find the video and I will relate it to you at a certain point. But I remember just thinking, preach, preach, preach. Yes, Kevin, that is absolutely correct. There are just some things that need to happen before I am ready to go to fall. And as much as I hate the summer, really, in terms of weather, I actually don't mind dry heat. I can't stand humidity. And really, for the most part, I just can't stand being hot. I'm an air conditioning, all fans pointed in my direction kind of girl. I, as much as I hate the summer, I actually think that summer is one of my favorite seasons for candles. It's so unusual, but it just is. And I I do think, and I was thinking about this morning as I was putting on clothes. I thought to myself, if it weren't for the a big escapist moment that like Bath and Body Works does in the tropics, etc., with all of the coconuts and everything, I mean, to some extent, it's kind of stealing the thunder of summer. And if we didn't have that, then summer would just be the moment where we would do all the tropical candles and all the coconuts and all the oceans and all the neroli and like I just yeah. I just think that summer candles are glorious. So watch, because this month I will do a like summer legacy video in which I talk about like my Hall of Fame summer candles, some of which I'm maybe not going to burn, some of which I'm not necessarily going to do an in-depth review or have not up to this point, but I want to talk about what summer candles are just my like OGs that I try to burn every year, but even if I don't, are like in my memory as the best of the best. Because I really do think summer candles are in some ways kind of a little bit overlooked. And it's partly because like fall is just so prime time and the holiday season is so prime time. And then you have a lot of people who like love the spring florals, for instance. And I think that summer kind of is underrated. It's underrated for how amazing those summer smells are. Also, perhaps we're not really thinking about like lighting a candle when it's like 85 or 95 or 105 degrees outside. And I get that too. There is something kind of almost a cozy ambiance about candle lighting that seems more appropriate in other seasons. But come on, if you've got the air conditioning, you can light a candle at any time. And I just think there's actually something so unexpected and pleasant about an amazing summer candle burning in your kitchen in the heat of summer. I just think there is. Okay, so shameless plug there. We're at the Summer Olympics and we're at summer on this channel for the next 20 days or so. I want to talk about what it is that I did here for July. I do have my coffee here, and then shameless plug, I have one of my favorite liqueurs of all time, Amarula. Amarula! If you have not tried this, you must, you must, you must. This is a beautiful elephant right here because Amarula, once a year, the marula trees bear fruit, and this is in Africa. The exotic scent draws elephants from miles around to come and get a taste. That's when we know it's time to hand harvest the ripe yellow fruit. The marula fruit is then distilled and matured in aged French oak for 2 years before being blended with fresh cream. This is an amazing, amazing liqueur. If you like Bailey's, for instance, you will probably love Amarula. Bailey's is a little bit more bitey for sure, but it's kind of that amazing sweet, cream liqueur. This one is a little bit fruitier and a little bit more caramel-like, I think, than Bailey's Irish cream. But man, it's fantastic. Look at that. Spirit of Africa. So fantastic. They actually did a big rebrand on Amarula. Yeah, that is definitely more liqueur than coffee, but you know, it's one of those days. Yeah, so they had a more classic label on Amarula for a very long time, but this new kind of graphic elephant design is the new thing. Oh, man, that's good. It's so good. It's so good. And probably apropos, given that we're talking summer. So maybe I just have my tub here, and I know that I should sort them out by brand, but I just don't have the bandwidth for that today. So it's just gonna probably be a last in, first out kind of situation. Okay, so last in was this one that I just reviewed, which is Christmas in July. I have two Christmas in July candles here. This one was Movie Night Cocoa by Yankee Candle. That, as you can tell, I burned all the way down with very minimal sooting. Gorgeous fragrance, gorgeous, gorgeous. It's a beautiful, sweet, like very mid-range to like higher range a little bit, just very light and sweet. But at the same time, it kind of gives off a bassiness, even though it doesn't actually go super bassy, because it's got this musky, like cocoa butter, cocoa nuance kind of creaminess in this candle that is very reminiscent of the vibe of cocoa roasted chestnuts from Bath and Body Works. This one has a little bit more overt floral than the cocoa roasted chestnuts. And if I recall, and I don't have the candle here to compare, it's in my deep storage, and I'm just, again, no bandwidth. If I recall, that cocoa roasted chestnuts might be a little bit more cologne-y, a little bit more perfumey than this one is. This one has a lot of white floral in it, and so it lifts up into the maybe more feminine range while still being grounded and anchored with that like musky cocoa, more masculine thing. But oh, so charitably for all of us, it does mercifully, it does not have bergamot in it, or at least not any that makes any kind of a difference. So we don't have a cliche, either perfume or cologne kind of feel to it. It's a little bit more stripped down, and it just allows that amazing cocoa butter, creamy floralness to come forward. I really think it's a fantastic fragrance, but as I mentioned numerous times in that review, so completely mismarketed. I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with a movie night, with a cocoa night, with a hot chocolate, with a holiday offering. Like, it just, like, none of the above. And unfortunately just failed so miserably on that point. I think that a lot of people were so just offended on principle by the bait and switch. And then I'm not going to lie to you, the strength and throw was so terrible. I mean, I think this candle came in at maybe a 3 or 4 in the closed guest bathroom-like setting, if that makes sense. So I can't recommend it for that reason either, but it really is tragic that such an amazing fragrance should be wasted on poor marketing choices and poor execution. Okay. Full stop. Let's move on. I've got a Kringle candle here. Hey, so this one was actually burned only halfway. This is a candle I burned last year, and it is Summer Wish. How amazing and apropos is this? The last time I looked, this Kringle Reserve candle actually is still on the website. It was one of those very underhyped candles, probably late in the summer season, and it's a shame because it's a really lovely fragrance. Obviously, the marketing is, I think, evocative of Yankee candles. Does Yankee Candle have a Summer Wish? I think they do. Or it's called Summer something. Help me out. What is it? With the little girl and she's blowing the dandelion fluff, and I think it's like a blue wax. It's a longer standing Yankee candle. This is not similar to it in fragrance, but obviously in terms of vibe. This was a really interesting candle. A little bit on the powdery side, but it's kind of one of those amazing fruity florals. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it had some tea notes in it too, like tea is in the beverage. It's fresh, it's beautiful, it's just sweet, but it's also a little bit unexpected. It's not completely cliched. I can't remember exactly what I said when I hauled this one, but I think it's mismarketed and not mismarketed. I mean, it's fine as Summer Wish. It is much more of a spring fragrance, I think, than a summer fragrance. There is a fragility to it. There is an ingenue quality. There is kind of like almost an early spring-like feel to it. And so in that sense, maybe a spring wish, unless you think of it as being spring and thinking about summer, if that makes sense. It's a beautiful spring, though. And often Kringle struggles, I think, with the spring candles that they offer and the spring conceptuals. And I thought this 100% should have been in the country line with a colored wax, a light blue, a baby blue, something like that. And I think it should have been a spring candle. So I think it was a mistake in terms of marketing in that respect. I think the seasonality of it and the blackness. I've talked about the Kringle Reserve aesthetic. It's not really for me. I do think that if it was made for any season, it was for the Halloween candles. And I know that black is supposed to look premium, but we're not really sure what the concept is for the reserve candles. That has still not been revealed to us. And unless you have a man cave or like a very kind of more modern style home decor, I'm not sure that this is a vibe that you want to burn all seasons. I just don't think it is. And Summer Wish and this particular fragrance just seems to cry out for a beautiful country candle, and a beautiful country candle colored wax, a la Yankee Candle, which is obviously what is being invoked here. And it should be in the spring collection. And I mean, look, I have made no secret of the fact that I think that Kringle and even a lot of fans are just kind of almost hell-bent on running that country candle line into the ground like it's their job. They will not rest until the country candle line is gone. They don't like the shape of the vessels. They don't like the colored wax. They didn't like that it was paraffin before. So now it's changed to 100% soy. And now nobody's happy because the paraffin lovers aren't happy and the soy doesn't perform the same way with the colored wicks and with the wax and who knows what else. Like I'm so up to here and I really feel a certain kind of way. This is very much in the spirit of Greg from All About Candles, who just debuted a little mini video series called My Two Cents, in which he rants and raves about something that just bothers him. This is in that category, and I'm sorry if I'm alienating you, but I was such a lover of those country candle jars. In fact, I have one. I have a couple, because one of them was this Christmas in July, Frosty Branches, yeah. I liked this candle, but I didn't love it. I thought I was gonna love it, but it came out a little bit more perfumey than I wanted it to be. It's like a sprucey fruit green vine candle that was marketed for the holiday season, but in fact is more of an early spring kind of candle again. But that's what Christmas in July is for, is those unseasonal holiday candles. Strength and Throw on it was fine. I mean, it definitely in the 7 range. It was in that, it was one of those late, very late, right before they went to 100% soy on these country candles. And it was late, and I think because they were trying to narrow the gap between 100% soy and the paraffin, they were, I think, decreasing the scent oils in their paraffin jars so as to kind of let us down by degrees into the 100% soy. But even with that, it was still a 7 once burned, and it was, as paraffin is, super consistent from top to bottom. I mean, no fragrance variations, no scent throw variations. I mean, it just put out the way that paraffin does. And obviously at the expense of a little bit of minimal sooting. But, you know, I was one of those people who took it, who would 100% sign up for a little bit of sooting if I can get a consistently strong, deep, powerful fragrance. And I was brought up on Yankee Candle. I've got the nostalgia. I think it's fantastic that Mick Kettridge did this. It was his father who created those Yankee Candle jars. Village Candle has the same vibe. It was just amazing having this with the colored waxes and the paraffin. But there were certain people who just could not abide it. That there were certain fragrances that came out in 100% paraffin that they refused to burn, even though they could melt them. So it had to go 100% soy. And it's just being run into the ground. I do not like it. The fragrances now that are coming forward from Country Candle are, for the most part, very mediocre, standard gourmands. The conceptuals, the deep, complex conceptuals are rare in that Country Candle line now. I can't with it. I can't. And per what I said about being cranky, given the beach experience and the work experience and it being an early morning, I just need to express how I feel about that. Close parentheses. this Summer Wish should have come out in the country line with a beautiful colored wax and with a country candle. It was too weak when it was burned. It's one of those fragrances that unfortunately soy just can't really do justice to. Soy tends to not amplify fragrances particularly well, especially if they're basey. The soy, especially 100% soy, tends to be able to express fragrance notes in the mid-range and in the high range okay, but not necessarily in the base range. It's kind of like an equalizer or a sound system that just is not quite firing the way it gives you a fine impression of the song. And as long as you're not an audiophile, you don't really care about your music and its background, then it's fine. But for me, paraffin just really holds and expresses the fragrance the most powerfully, the most nuanced, the most deep, etc. Not even to mention consistency of burn performance from top to bottom, etc. And this is just one of those, again, more fragile ingenue kind of fragrances that needs help projecting, amplifying, and revealing each one of its nuances. And I just don't think that 100% soy is up to that challenge. So for me, the strength and throw on this was kind of in the 4 to 5 range, if I recall. But this was from last summer, and it was kind of one of those half-used Kringle candles that I put in a crate and that I'm now trying to work through because I'm sick of all of the candles that I have that are these half-used Kringle candles, especially. They're so huge. And so I am melting them now in the crock. So this one was melted in the crock. It still kind of has fragrance because, frankly, it could probably still go in the crock. But even in the crock, it was not really projecting that much. I mean, I had it in there for several days and it could almost fill my master bedroom, but like then increasingly not. It really just kind of remained at its little nightstandy place, and I lost patience with it and we're done. So that was Summer Wish. I really think it's not going to blow your mind. It's not going to change your life. It certainly didn't for me, but I thought that it was a very good spring conceptual and much better than some of the offerings that we've gotten from Kringle over the last couple years. Probably just mismarketed. Hey, along those lines, I had another Kringle half jar here that I put in the crock, and this one was Juicy Strawberry that I didn't love as much when I bought it because it has this rather odd green note in it that leans a little medicinal mint, to be honest. And for me, it just kind of threw the fragrance in a direction that I wasn't loving. It was kind of like a very cool, discordant note along with the warm sweetness of strawberry. In terms of the strawberry note, it's fine. It's more authentic than some strawberry notes, and it's less authentic than I think it should be. It just goes a little bit generic for me. And then I think maybe Kringle was hoping that the like green note would imbue the entire fragrance with an authenticity, a botanical authenticity that maybe that strawberry note kind of lacks a little bit. For me, it just didn't land as well as it should have. I burned half of it and then I melted the rest of it. And really, for the most part, the smell upon it being melted in the candle crock was not pleasant. It was very strong for at least 2 days. So it did fill not only the master bedroom, bathroom, came out into the house, etc. But very quickly, after about 24 hours, it just went to a very like synthetic strawberry with like, it was not good. It was not, I don't think that the candle crocking did whatever nuances and whatever merits this fragrance had. Definitely they were not revealed upon melting it. I would not recommend that one. That being said, there aren't that many great strawberry fragrances. It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't as good as I think a lot of us really were hoping it would be. So there's that. Along with our apothecaries here, I have 2 Village candles. So this one was fantastic. Rain from Village Candle. Oh my gosh. So Rain is actually, I think, one of their better sellers. I think it's been around for a real long time. And it's very well liked. And now that I've burned it, I completely understand why. It's not it's not like breaking the mold or anything. I mean, it's just a really fantastic aquatic candle. It just is. It has almost a tiny bit of brininess, as in from the sea. And then it's got like some sweet florals in it too that make it very like domestic, inland, spring, early spring rain kind of feeling. I think it's beautiful in the spring, but I burned it here in the summer and it was refreshing and so on point. I love this candle. I would 100% repurchase it, and it had very impressive strength and throw given how small this guy is. This is a 2-wick though, and it's the same diameter as like a regular apothecary. Shameless plug for mid and small candles with the same wicks and the same diameter. Done. I mean, you can get through a candle like this from top to bottom in a few weeks if you burn it like really, really, frequently, maybe even less than that, and move on. And then you don't have half-eaten candles in your storage. Oh, it's just so satisfying to go from top to bottom. A little seasonal candle, a little candle for a couple weeks, a certain vibe. So fantastic. Fresh rain, bergamot, lily, and amber. And there isn't really that much bergamot in it, although there is a slight perfuminess about this candle. It's not heavy. The entire candle is lit and fresh and really kind of stripped down. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. We'll purchase it again. Unfortunately, this candle was so bad that yes, look at this. Look at this. So I love the way that this candle smells. I mean, I have loved it so much that I bought it in wax melts first. When the wax melts didn't perform, I just told myself, oh, it's a dud. Oh, it's just a wax melt. I'm sure when I buy the candle, it'll be perfect. And against my better judgment, did buy the candle. And guess what? No performance. This candle is so gorgeous, not even to mention the color of the wax, not even to mention the amazing branding, Secluded Dunes. The notes here, the major notes listed on the jar are sea spray, hint of lily, and sandalwood. So fantastic, because it's got that amazing, creamy, amber, tonka wood or tonka bean, sandalwood kind of vibe on the bottom. And then this amazing, like, fruity floral on top. Very much in the category, although not the same candle, as Paloma Petal from Illume, for instance, with the sandalwood and the little bit of like a grapefruit nuance along with, I think it's a magnolia or some other sort of like white floral. Such a fantastic profile. I love these candles. This one even has a freshness and even a greenness about it. It's a beautiful, beautiful conceptual. Gorgeous. But it does not perform at all. I tried to burn this. I tried to burn it for a week. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, it's one of those candles that you put in your guest bathroom and can't get a 2 out of it. But I can smell it on cold, but for some reason it just does nothing. So then I put it in the crock, and in the crock it gave me nothing. Oh, Village, why? 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 What is wrong with this candle? And I've seen it before. I think it's a long-standing candle for them. Like, why? Please fix the performance on this. It's stunning. I mean, you have like everything. You've got the wax color. You've got the packaging. You've got the label. You've got the marketing. You've got the vibe, and you have the fragrance, and it's just such a fantastic coastal kind of summer conceptual. And where's the strength and throw? It's just not there. It's not there. Huge disappointment. Huge. I just couldn't do it. You know, I have too many candles to get through. Like, I'm just not going to waste my time anymore. I surrender White Flag. It's just a candle that doesn't perform, and I can't recommend it to you. And it makes my heart really, really unhappy because what a fantastic candle. All right, then I have a few. Let's do a few. Oh, wait. Let's do another one of those fails. Gird your loins. Here's a Yankee candle. This I got from the outlet, and it was, I think, a made-for-outlet candle. So, again, against my better judgment, why was I even buying a candle like this? But I liked the way it smelled, and I wanted to do this, like, compare and contrast video of Orange Blossom. This one is actually called Citrus Blossom, but it's a very orange blossom. Again, as with Secluded Dunes from Village Candle, you lift the lid and you can totally smell it. It's perfect. It's like, it doesn't give you any indication that this candle isn't going to perform. And then you light it and you're like, I can't smell it. I can't smell it, right? It's a beautiful orange blossom. It has a little bit of neroli in it, so there's a touch of sunscreenish kind ofness. But there's a real sweetness and kind of an ingenue, true orange blossom note in it as well. It's really beautiful. It's a stunning fragrance, but like I could not get anything out of this. And as you can tell with the migrating wicks, okay, so I put this in my crock and I left for the day and I came back and at some point in the evening, I all of a sudden went, oh, where's my orange blossom candle? And I thought to myself, I must not have turned my crock on, right? Because how am I not smelling anything? Walked into my bedroom, nothing. And I just thought to myself, I didn't turn it on. I thought I had turned it on. I turned this on. I went and I looked over my nightstand, standing at my nightstand, still not smelling anything, looking into my candle crock, and this enormous pool of liquidated wax, put my nose over it, really could not smell anything. Anything! Oh my God. What a waste. What a waste. I mean, I can't recommend that one, but I don't know that it's in their main line, and it was made for the outlet and for good reason. Let's stay on the Yankee Candle fail kind of realm here. I got this from Yankee Candle. This was Farm Fresh Peach, which I think is a long-standing candle for them. I just don't know that I've experienced it, and I'm always chasing a great peach fragrance. They've got these like weird cubey things, but here's these. I did it in two things. This was a fail. This was a fail. It smells okay on cold, but it did not, it certainly wasn't improved upon it being melted. I mean, it was like that fresh strawberry. It just got super synthetic, and I couldn't even really smell the peach. It was just like this weird, very uber sweet, vaguely nectarous kind of smell, but not in a like, it's kind of like those fruits that you sometimes get from the grocery store that are out of season or whatever else, and I don't know. They just don't have like really, it's like the strawberries out of season that they've got the right texture and they're kind of juicy, but they don't actually taste like anything. It's a pale kind of substitute for an actual strawberry. That's how that felt to me. However, I've not been impressed with the way that Yankee Candle's wax melts. With their wax melts. So it could just be like an execution issue with the wax that they're using and the oils that they're using rather than a reflection on fresh, what is it? Farm Fresh Peach, the fragrance. Talk to me. Do you have experience with Farm Fresh Peach from Yankee? I was not loving it. Here's another fail. This one was from Illume, and it's real tiny, so to some extent there is kind of like an excuse for that not working, but I did actually burn this one all the way down. This was one of their mini collections, and it was like a trio of candles, and it was like one of those women empowerment kind of marketing. It was like Shine, Wish, something or other. And I think it may have been marketed even for evening too, because this one's star, and I think Wish was like the moon one. And anyway, I bought a lot of these because I encountered them I encountered them lots of different places initially, you know, like your boutiques like Barnes and Noble and places like that. And then when they started making the TJ Maxx and Marshalls deal, I bought a ton of these, especially Shine, because I love Shine the most, which is coconut leaves, citrus, and lily. Another beautiful, like, kind of summerish conceptual, although you could certainly get away doing this in spring, in the early January escapist kind of vibe, etc. It's a beautiful coconut note that I think is the note that they use in their wildly successful coconut milk and mango, but instead of going full board like milk and mango, they just use the coconut note and then give us a sweet white floral and a little bit of citrus. And the citrus here might be a bergamot oil to make it a little bit perfumey, but again, it still stays in that fairly fresh, light, kind of almost ozone-y place. Beautiful candle, but didn't give me anything upon it being burned. I mean, nothing. Not even in the guest bathroom with the door closed. Not even like weighing for or accounting for the fact that it's a tiny 1-wick votive. It still was underperforming for a 1-wick votive, so I can't recommend it. Unfortunately, Illume, since they become more popular and you're seeing them more places, they are putting forward a lot of candles that are frankly subpar, because they're getting their money's worth, and they are riding on the reputation of some of their much stronger candles that have been in their collection for a very long time. Coconut Milk Mango is in the vanguard of that. I think that's far and away their most successful candle, and it's a powerhouse, and spoiler alert, it is front and center, if not the top candle in my summer Hall of Fame, for sure. Some of their other more long-standing candles are in fact quite good. I'm partial to Paloma Petal, even though it doesn't perform all that well, but a lot of these more recent ones are not very good. So just be aware of that if you are exploring Illume. Some of their more recent candles are just really not good, and I would caution Illume. Like, there's only so much bandwidth that you have for ruining for trading on the reputation of your good candles before you start to destroy all, right? Please be careful. Like, I get phoning in a few, like, you know, small run kind of fragrances for the people who are not really candle people, but, you know, like whatever, the packaging, or are starting to realize that you've got good candles, but like, you can really ruin your reputation with this kind of bullshit, right? So please, Illume. I think Illume does a really good job on a certain level. I would hate to see them really start like losing their grip. All right, this one I bought at Target. This is from the Being Frenshe line, which I think is Ashley Tisdale's. And it's mainly body products, like kind of like hipstery, bougie kind of products. This one is Present and Grounded, which is Palo Santo and Sage. So it needs no explanation as to why I picked this one up during Target Circle Week when the entire collection was discounted. It is a gorgeous fragrance. It has a lot of wood in it. That could be a cedar, but I think is actually Palo Santo. It's really nice. Very warm, dry, woody. And then it has a significant like black pepper like pop to it. In fact, I think that the black pepper is like kind of the top half of the candle. It's really beautiful. And it is restrained in terms of its more cologne-y elements, i.e. bergamot and amber. It's beautiful, and I actually bought it in the little perfume size, and I like smelling like it for sure. It's got okay lasting value for the fact that it's about a $30 perfume. This candle was $10, I think. It's a 8-ounce single wick, probably plant-based wax. Oh, it's a 7-ounce actually. I got it on the discount for about $8. It's not worth it. I mean, it just burns kind of like a very You know, just one of those candles that they don't know what they're doing quite. They've got a nice fragrance and they're like, hey, why don't we just market it as, you know, all the flanking products, candle being one of them. It didn't really have very good strength and throw. That said, it had better strength and throw than some of these. I'm looking at Village Candle and Yankee Candle with the one wick. I could get my bathroom to smell like it. It did tunnel quite a bit, so I had to do the top-down lamp to kind of correct, then burn, correct, then burn, correct, then burn. And for me, it was kind of like a bedtime / shower candle. And it was fine, but I wouldn't purchase it again. I do think the fragrance is lovely. And I think I introduced this in the video this month with Sage and Palo Santo from Kringle. In fact, is this it? Yeah. This was Sage and Palo Santo from Kringle. I did not like this fragrance. I just didn't. And I actually think that Ashley Tisdale's fragrance is better. It's more stripped down. It's more pure. It's more authentic, even if the strength and throw is not there. This Sage and Palo Santo candle, I mean, it burned fine. It burned fine all the way down, just like soy does. But it's just a cliched men's cologne. If there's just way too much bergamot and amber in it for it to really be anything special. And unfortunately, as I mentioned in the video, it was set up to be a comparison to Palo Santo and Sage from Bath & Body Works, which is very successful and fairly popular at this point. That candle is much more stripped down and authentic the way that this Ashley Tisdale one is. But that one is even better. It doesn't have the black pepper, but it has an amazing sweet clary sage in it. And again, very light on the bergamot. There's hardly any bergamot in that candle. There is some musk, but it's not as heavy as the musk that's in Bath & Body Works' original Palo Santo candle. For my money, their best Palo Santo candle right now is Palo Santo and Sage. So if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know that I am the unofficial CEO of Palo Santo division in my mind of Bath & Body Works. They have 3 Palo Santo candles. The first one, which is the original, it's a beautiful Palo Santo fragrance. It is heavy on the musk, but just like mahogany teakwood is, for instance, but it's lighter than mahogany teakwood. It's less cliched. It's more versatile. It's just an amazing, amazing, palatable kind of wood fragrance that I think is just, like I said, more versatile across the board. I think we are in the Palo Santo era now for Bath & Body Works, and I think that the mahoganies are going to start receding more and more, allowing Palo Santo to kind of become the next like major wood note to be blended with all kinds of different things. So there's the original Palo Santo, and then there is Palo Santo Vanilla. For my money, Palo Santo Vanilla is really just the original Palo Santo, just cut with a little bit more cream, a little bit more vanilla. It's really almost the exact same fragrance, but if you find the original Palo Santo a little bit heavy, and frankly, there are a lot of women who still are not, it's not their, they do not lean masculine, and those are not usually candles that they like. For that demographic, Palo Santo Vanilla is definitely the candle to pick up because it's a little bit closer to that like coffee and whiskey vibe that is what I would call a gateway masculine candle rather than it being a true masculine candle. For me, Palo Santo Vanilla is just kind of a watered down version of Palo Santo. So I would probably not purchase Palo Santo Vanilla again. I would just rather get Palo Santo, but I also lean that direction. Then they have Palo Santo and Sage. And I do think Palo Santo and Sage is the superior fragrance. It's even better than the original Palo Santo. It's more nuanced, it's more special, there's a lighter touch on the musk, and it allows those authentic like herbal and wood elements to really come forward with a brightness, and there's a sweetness to it as well, I think. So that I think a lot of people who otherwise would not like the masculine and would not like the herbal might really like that candle. It's a very spa, like soothing kind of candle, which is what I think Kringle was trying to go for in their blurb. They mentioned soothing and tranquil like many different times, but it's a pretty heavy men's cologne that frankly you can really only get away with burning in the fall season, you know, or in the cold weather season if you like that vibe. If you don't like that vibe, I can't recommend it on any levels. And actually many of the brand ambassadors, when it came out in the spring, if you can believe it, they were all like, why didn't this come out in the fall? And they're right. I mean, if you like a men's cologne that you want to burn and can only burn in the fall, then I guess take a look at it. But for me, it's a no. It's an absolute no. This was a yes, though, from Kringle. Yes. And it makes me so happy to say that because I feel like I've been kind of dumping on Kringle a little bit in this video. This candle was a yes. This is coral. And for once, it is a really stunning computer printed jar with no seam because it's not a wraparound. Coral is ozonic freshness, sparkling bergamot, splash of lemon, lavender, sandalwood, creamy tonka bean, soothing amber, and sheer musk. This was a very unusual candle. This is for sure a summer conceptual. But if this candle was shifted down in the range, it would actually be a cliched men's cologne a la Sage and Palo Santo. I really think that this is kind of a spicier, like very bergamot heavy, amber, musk, men's cologne, and frankly a fairly standard one that that Kringle has just shifted way up in the range, like way up, so that it's usually a basey heavy candle with like that sparkling bergamot. It shifted it all up so that the basey notes are really only sitting right in the mid-range, and then everything else is just sparkling and brilliant. And the heavy spices in it that frankly, although not listed, smell a lot like a clove, like a white leather, like a vetiver, something like that. Think like salted amber vetiver from Bath & Body Works, that kind of vibe. If they were sitting lower in the range, they would smell super masculine, spicy, and heavy. But sitting up in the range, they just smell like sparkling and like almost feminine, but like spicy feminine. Like it's a very odd kind of candle. I said in the video when I reviewed this, it reminds me of when you're looking at the ocean or a large body of water and the sun is just reflecting on it a very specific and special kind of way. And it's like so brilliant that you have to have sunglasses. That's a little like what this fragrance smells like. It has, I would say at least 40 or 50% of this candle is sparkling bergamot. And if you told me that I would be appreciating a candle with 40 to 50% of this candle being sparkling bergamot, I would laugh in your face. Sparkling bergamot is not my vibe. I generally frown upon candles that have a very cliched sparkling bergamot, amber, musk kind of profile. I think they're tired. I think that they on paper look immediately like a cliched perfume, or which is more likely men's cologne. I am amazed at how well I tolerated and even appreciated this candle, given how sparkling and bergamonty and perfumey this candle is. It's definitely a perfume conceptual, and for me, it was a loud one. When I lit this up, it was easily a 7 to an 8, no matter what space I put it in. Disclaimer there, almost everybody else said that this candle had bad strength and throw, even some of the brand ambassadors. So I don't know what happened here, because you know I'll tell you if the strength and throw is bad. And with the Kringle candles lately, most of them do have bad strength and throw. So I don't know what to say. Maybe I just got super lucky with this candle. Maybe it's the profile of the candle. I really think a little of that sparkling bergamot and musk and spiciness go a long way, full stop, no matter what candle company or candle we're talking about. So maybe I'm influenced by that. Maybe it really was a 5, but it felt like an 8 in my space given the profile of the fragrance. I don't know. But even if it is a 5 that feels like an 8, I think you need to brace yourself for a presence in your house. If you don't like this vibe and you don't like an unusual, admittedly, cologne, but a cologne or perfume conceptual, I don't think this is a candle that I can recommend. It's not a candle that you're going to be able to contain easily. For me, it really overwhelmed. But I ended up enjoying it. I did. That said, I think that there's a lot of candles that are similar that I enjoy more that have less bergamot in them. And I talked about that in my video when I did an in-depth scent kind of comparison video, and it was a long one for this one. I do think Salted Amber Vetiver from Bath & Body Works is in the same category. Don't get me wrong, it's not the same fragrance. I like Salted Amber and Vetiver better. I just do. I think it's a better candle, but kind of a similar vibe. And even from Kringle itself, I love Somerset, for instance. Somerset is a similar vibe, but without as much of the sparkling bergamot. It's much more bassy. It's got the creaminess. It's got the tonka, etc. I love Somerset. Again, same category, same vibe, but I think a much more pleasing candle. And actually, I have it right now. I have a half one in my candle crock. It's been there for the entire week, and I can still smell it in my house. That Somerset is incredible. Admittedly, it is the old paraffin Somerset, which has now been reformulated to 100% soy. So all bets off about how that new Somerset performs. But I would recommend Somerset over Coral. And then I think I've got Sea Salt and Tonka from Kringle as well, which I think I would probably recommend over that too. Caveat being, I have not actually burned Sea Salt and Tonka, so I'm just kind of perceiving it on cold. And on cold, it does seem as though that Sea Salt and Tonka is going to be much shyer in terms of strength and throw. So there is that. But I think it's a little bit more of a nuanced and fresh candle, which I personally like better because all things being equal, I just don't love 50% of sparkling bergamot. That said, really high marks for the unusualness of this fragrance. And I think it performed great. It fit, it understood the assignment of a summer conceptual and really did it fantastic. It's not one that I would repurchase, but you want to have a lot of really good and decent like candles. Even if it's not like gonna blow people's minds or be a best new candle, this is just a really good kind of mid-level summer conceptual that was just executed well. It had great branding. It had great marketing. It was just, yeah, really high marks for Kringle on that, despite the fact I probably wouldn't repurchase it. Bath & Body Works Raspberry Rosé. Oh my gosh, this candle was everything. This is a July burn for me, and spoiler alert, I think I'm actually going to issue it into my Summer Hall of Fame. It was that good. You're just looking for an unabashed, loud, proud, fruity candle for July, for those summer barbecues that just says, I am July. Yeah? This was that candle, but it has just enough bassy, jammy, almost musky fruit in it to make it a grounded candle as opposed to like a cliche, like lollipop raspberry candle for the children or a Jolly Rancher or something like that. It was so fantastic. I do think the raspberry note here is much more similar to like raspberry thumbprint from Bath & Body Works. Like it's a deep, true, authentic raspberry jam as opposed to like a candy raspberry or a fresh botanical raspberry. And if I'm not mistaken, I do think there is a little bit of floral in this, and it could very well be rose itself. There is a little bit of musk as well. So I don't know that this is a true straight up gourmand, but that raspberry is so bright and just so forward. It screams fall, and it performed like a champ for me. I have already repurchased this one, and honestly, I'd be happy to burn it every July. Really high marks. This was a crock candle from Bath & Body Works. This is the vaunted Lavender and Marshmallow, which was the predecessor to Pink Lavender and Espresso. So they added espresso to this essentially, and in my opinion, completely transformed the fragrance. They're very similar smelling, but I do think that Pink Lavender and Espresso is head and shoulders superior to Lavender Marshmallow. I was one of those people who actually had never burned Lavender Marshmallow. It's for sure in terms of like vibe. Not a candle I would remotely even be interested in lifting the lid and smelling. I don't do marshmallows. But when Pink Lavender and Espresso came out and everybody's like, it's a repackage of Lavender Marshmallow, I'm like, there is no way it is a repackage of a candle called Lavender Marshmallow. There's no way in God's green earth that is not possible. So I actually went to eBay and bought this in the aftermarket. So this is a candle from, guys, I can't remember how to read the things again. This is saying, this is 2000. I want to say this says 2013. That's not possible. That's not possible. It's not that old. What would it be? It's a 1333. It's a 1333. K386. You told me how to read it. I don't know what that is, but it can't be 2013. I feel like this has to be like a 1 or 2 year old candle. 3 years old, maybe. I want to say it's in like the 2020, 2021. Hey, that's it, probably. It's a 2021, I bet. So forget the threes. I think it's a 2021. So like 3 years ago, that feels about right. Okay, because it says 2652. Yeah, very similar, but it did not perform at all. And I know a lot of people felt that way about Lavender Marshmallow. It just doesn't perform. It duds out almost immediately and starts getting really sooty. So anyway, I put this one in the candle crock and it smelled good in the candle crock. I was amazed though in the candle crock when I was getting the whoosh of all of that fragrance. I do think that there is more of a sweet, almost medicinal lavender note that comes forward in Lavender Marshmallow in a way that the espresso cuts. The espresso cuts in the Pink Lavender and Espresso. So there's a soapiness and a medicinalness about Lavender Marshmallow. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful fragrance and it is very similar to Pink Lavender and Espresso. But the soapiness and the medicinalness of the lavender note is just completely done away with. The espresso covers it and just allows the best of the lavender to come forward. And it's just another example of why Pink Lavender and Espresso is lightning in a bottle. This was like the proto version, and then Pink Lavender and Espresso was just, it was just, yeah? All right, the orange blossoms, I had 2 orange blossoms to do the compare and contrast with the horrible Yankee candle. So I did orange blossom from from Bath and Body Works. This was in the single wick. Such a great candle. Why has this candle not come out in a 3-wick? It needs to, 100%. And as I said in the video, a mistake that it didn't come out as dressed in white, because I think that this is one of those repackages that actually would make sense. In its original iteration, just as orange blossom to come out whenever, and then they could pour it into dressed in white. For those of you who are old enough to know, orange blossom is a very like traditional wedding bouquet kind of thing from the 50s, right? And it dates back to, I think, Queen Victoria, who originally used orange blossoms in her wedding bouquet. So if they want that dressed in white to come out like every June or something, which would make sense, they should just pour orange blossom into it. That dressed in white fragrance was really nothing to write home about. And then I had orange blossom from Paddywax, and this was a beautiful 3-wick in a reusable, gorgeous glass vessel, Mexican blown glass that you can put guacamole in. And in fact, on the label, they even gave you like a guacamole recipe right here. This was a fantastic candle, and at least for many burns in the top half of the candle, had great strength and throw, which is more than I can say for most Paddywax candles. It was a fantastic orange blossom. These were very similar to each other. I think the orange blossom of Bath & Body Works was a touch sweeter than the one from Paddywax, but they both were very authentic, fresh, gorgeous orange blossoms, just absolutely beautiful without a whole lot of other fillers or additions. I recommend both of them very highly. And then I had some Voluspa candles that were not great. So I bought this one actually on clearance at Anthropology. This is one of their new fragrances for January, and it was for the February season. This is Cherry Gloss. So this was a new fragrance for Voluspa. They came out with the amazing, what is it, like Noble Fir Garland, which I highly recommend, and I did a review. That one was for the holiday season. It's been a bit since Voluspa has come out with new candles, and they generally are pretty conservative about bringing out new candles. They have a fairly standard collection. Noble Fir Garland was a standout, and it's going to be with us for many years to come, and it has now become, in my opinion, their number one kind of vanguard, like flagship Christmas candle fragrance. They did have one before that was white cypress, I think, or something cypress in the very pale green color, but it has had no strength and throw for 2 decades. I don't know why it has remained, except that it was like it was basically their only holiday candle. So I'm very happy that Noble Fir Garland will now hopefully take its place as the major holiday fragrance for them. This one came out shortly thereafter. This is Cherry Gloss. I talked about the fact that right now there is a run on the Tom Ford Lost Cherry perfume for whatever reasons. If you watch all of the influencers in personal fragrance, Lost Cherry, Lost Cherry, Lost Cherry. And when Target and Bath & Body Works and various others, when they do their dupes of high-end perfumes, there's always a cherry fragrance that is a dupe of Lost Cherry by Tom Ford. I smelled it once. I didn't think it was that great of a fragrance, but God bless, it's not my fragrance. So anyway, very on brand for there to be a cherry candle from Voluspa. And people said, of course, made the requisite comparisons to the Tom Ford fragrance. It's almost a little bit of a medicinal cherry, to be honest, but it pulls back just before it gets there and has a muskiness and almost a woodiness about this candle. And I can't remember exactly what the notes are on it, but I want to say that smoked leather and cherry might possibly be it. It's a sweet fragrance, though. It's definitely more of a women's perfume than it is a men's cologne. It's not basey. I wanted to try it. These, like, one-wick tins, though, from Voluspa are, like, they're really only good for smelling the fragrance cold. They have absolutely no strength and throw. I don't know that I loved anything about this enough to, like, buy a cherry gloss in a fuller size. If I did, it would be that 3-wick shallow tin, but I'm not even sure that I would do that. For me, Santiago Huckleberry is their best, like, jammy, musky fragrance. I'm not sure that I love cherries or love that fragrance enough to purchase it again. Casa Pacifica is a long-standing candle for them, usually comes out in the spring or summer, and actually usually comes out in a different vessel than the usual embossed glass. It usually comes out in kind of a limited edition summer glass container. This is a great candle. As with Rain from Village Candle, which is very similar to, frankly, it's fresh, it's got some white floral, but it's got that amazing, almost briny aquatic note. It is a gorgeous fragrance, and actually this one did have a little bit of strength and throw, despite the fact that it was a Voluspa single wick, tiny little thing. I would 100% buy Casa Pacifica in another container. I've been smelling it for years, and there's part of me that's just like, is it just a cliched, like, water fragrance, you know? But having burned it now, it's really not. I mean, it's at least approaching the specialness of Village Candle Rain, and I would 100% purchase it at another time. This candle from Voluspa was a bust. This is Voluspa Olive Leaf, Vervain Olive Leaf. I bought this a while ago. It was one of the limited editions, and I believe, oh, come on, please come off. It was a 2-wick. It had a pretty good diameter. It smelled a little bit lemongrassy / soapy, but like in a very pleasant and fresh way, which is why I got it. And it almost had a little bit of musk in it. Upon it being burned, it just went full board soap. It was soap with a little bit of like maybe a lemongrass overtone, but it was a very dated soap feel. Like it just smelled like one of those scented perfumes in your grandmother's house, Kirka 1980, if you know what I mean. Really, really, really bad. The Strength and Throw wasn't bad for a Voluspa candle. I put it in, it was in my back bedroom for the most part. I wouldn't say it was great. I probably got it up to about a 5 in the back bedroom, which is not going to be enough for most people, but for a Voluspa, it's not bad. But the fragrance was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Would not under any circumstances. This was a beautiful little candle from World Market, actually. So my little brother, who doesn't really know what to do, like he wants to get us something at Christmas, but he doesn't know, like, he doesn't know what to get us. It's become like a holiday tradition and we all laugh about it. He, on his way to the parents' house on Christmas Day, he just stops at a World Market and fills an entire shopping cart full of all these things from World Market. He loves World Market. And so he just buys us a ton of stuff from like the gourmet food section and all kinds of other things. He just throws them in the cart, in bags, doesn't bother wrapping them, comes to Christmas dinner. My brother he's my baby brother. He's like a big business guy and he's kind of a bachelor and he has a bachelor mindset and it's actually really kind of sweet. Anyway, this was one of the things he bought me and it was just this little tiny candle called Pineapple Orchid and it is so stunning of a fragrance. Again, it's a summer conceptual and while there may be some pineapple in it, it's not overwhelmed by like that unmistakable pineapple high acidity, high sugar. It's got a lot of floral in it. It says orchid, but it's almost certainly not orchid because orchid doesn't really have that pronounced of a scent. It's probably like a jasmine or a magnolia or perhaps even a tuberose, to be perfectly honest. There's a freshness to it and a beachiness, which is why I'm saying tuberose, because tuberose actually does lean a little bit coconutty, you know, like in its scent profile. Oh, it's fresh, it's sweet, it's just gorgeous. Strength and Throw wasn't great on it. I mean, it was kind of hard to smell even in a guest bathroom, but I have to give high props to Cost Plus World Market because that is a beautiful little summer conceptual candle that a lot of candle companies would be really happy with, Bath & Body Works included. Really nice. I would purchase that again with multiple wicks, but the Strength and Throw is not good on it. All right, and I think it was kind of a limited edition because in my travels to Cost Plus World Market recently, I've been looking for a bigger vessel and I couldn't find one, so it must have just been like a, you know, a limited thing. Last but not least, these wax melts from Huntington Home, ye old Aldi. This was Palo Santo and Eucalyptus, and it was really nice. It was perfect for the bathroom. I actually, you know how you have the bottom up warmer with the tray and the wax, and you put it in your freezer and it pops out. So I put it in my freezer to pop it out and show you in this video, but it's still in the freezer and I'm just not going to stop this video to go and get it. It was a white wax. I've melted it twice. Huntington Home, I mean, these are very cheap wax melts. They're only going to last you a couple days, probably. Maybe not a whole lot more than that, but this one really had great Strength and Throw because it had some pretty piercing notes, not only of Palo Santo, but also of eucalyptus. The eucalyptus did go a touch medicinal, but the warmth of the sweetness of the Palo Santo wood cut it a little bit, and the entire vibe was just so spa. Like I said, a touch on the medicinal kind of standpoint, but it was branded that way and is kind of like unabashedly that way anyway. It's just, it was really fantastic. And it kind of cut some of my summer fragrances that I was getting sick of. It was like, oh, spa, 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 you know? I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I would buy it again if I saw it again, if it comes back. Definitely worth $1.50 or $1.95 or whatever else those wax melts are going for. Just adjust your expectations about how long those wax melts will last. But like I said, per earlier in the video, the Yankee Candle ones don't last all that long, and I'm not impressed with the way that they melt. So I think it's well worth the money and the value to buy at Aldi. I know a lot of you buy from Walmart as well, the Better Homes and Gardens ones, which are pretty well recommended and have a very low price point as well. Again, just adjust your expectations on these in terms of how long they're going to last and how brilliant they smell. The Target ones, I think, are probably should be recommended in the same breath, although I don't have as much experience with the Target ones. But of all the candle fragrances that they have from Target, which I think are pretty bad across the board, the wax melts always seem a little bit like a standout. So if they perform anywhere near as good as Aldi, I would say that the Target ones are also ones to look out for, again, at a fairly low price point. Man, this video is long, but I told you I did a lot for July. I did a lot. Yeah? And a lot of it was just kind of melting some things in the crock that I need to get out of my house. So I hope you enjoyed that. If any of these are available, I will try to link them down below, although it'll probably take me some time to do that. I'll try to provide timestamps for everything. July, not bad, not bad. Let's go to August. I have a hankering for a coconut, and I just bought one from Village Candle. Coconut vanilla, which I had in wax melts up to this point, has to be probably my favorite coconut candle that I have ever burned. And there are some very nice ones out there on the market. Stay tuned for that amazing Summer Legacy Hall of Fame video as well, where I talk about all my favorite summer candles that I would be happy to burn every single year. If I had the bandwidth, if I had the space, if I had the time, if I didn't have to burn any other candles, these are the ones I would be burning. Such a glorious season actually for home fragrance, and a little bit underhyped. So happy July to all of you. Go Team USA, watch the Olympics. We've only got one more week left, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks so much, my friends. Bye.